by the way. But we're going to begin with what I love to do during this newscast every single night. I love being able to reveal the truth to you and then asking the questions that arise from that truth, whatever it may be. And it does appear, right? I mean, look, those are the numbers. I just broke them down for you. Bribery is now all but legal politically in our beloved country. And as I showed you, one of the best investments that any company can make is a campaign contribution to the right politician. They get it back in spades. By the way, the more this problem festers, the more closed this political system becomes. It's becoming more and more like a small group of people who are the donors and the lobbyists and the politicians, their families, and on it goes. All of them do ads once every 2 or 3 years. You know those commercials you see on TV, pretending to be just like the rest of us. Fact is, they're nothing like us. Richard Wolff is a professor of economics and the co-founder of Democracy at Work. Listen to what he says.
I think the numbers you pointed out are all you need if you're not blind to understand what's going on. And for me, the best way to get it across is just a teeny bit of history. We have a fundamental economic problem. The employers are a small minority in our society, and the employees are the majority. That makes a problem because the employers, the ones who own and operate the businesses, take the lion's share of the wealth for themselves, which is why they are the wealthy. And they're worried because if the majority are not wealthy and the minority are, if you run your system like that, it's only a matter of time, and not much of that, before the majority say, wait a minute, in a democracy, we should rule. We're the majority. And so they could act politically through their representatives to correct the inequality that the capitalist economic system keeps reproducing. They could pass laws about taxation, they could pass laws about inheritance, they could pass laws about minimum wages, maximum incomes, all kinds of laws they could pass to deal with that. And the wealthy, they've understood that for a long time. If they're going to have to give the people the vote, and remember, we struggled for centuries to be able to vote for things. If the people have the right to vote, they're in danger. And how do they handle it? By making running for office so expensive, so costly, that nobody but rich people could ever figure out how to do it 90% of the time. And so they can thwart the democracy in this indirect way, even while going through the motions of saying everybody gets to vote. And that's why we have the form of democracy, but not the real content.
I've never heard anybody explain it quite as well as you just did. Let me ask you the next question then. Let's talk about solutions, you and I. It seems to me like every study that I've shown or that I've read shows me that companies who pay politicians in the end charge us for the cost of their goods. In other words, it costs them to do that, so then they charge us for it. Wouldn't it be cheaper if we could come up with a way that we, taxpayers, could fund these campaigns and equalize what everybody gets?
Look, it's been the goal of many reformers in many countries to do something like what you say, to forbid private contributions, to put absolute limits on how much can be given, and that makes sure that all the candidates have a roughly equal amount, so it's an equal fight rather than a fight between someone who panders to the rich and gets a lot and someone who tries to do something for the poor and doesn't most of the time. But here's the problem with all of those ideas, good and not so good. As long as you have a society that makes a minority very, very wealthy and everybody else worried about the next paycheck, you're going to have those in control with the wealth trying to get around anything you try to do. And so it's necessary to make basic changes if you're going to get the democracy we want but don't have.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.